which was also on my mind. I've been hanging around the group for a couple of months now, and it's been really fun to see everyone else's MOKRs come out. I am from Australia, so I'll pronounce things a little bit differently. So bear with me. Cool. I'll just, now that I can share screen, I'll just do a little bit about me so you got context. So the main project I work with is called Farming Secrets, and Farming Secrets is a regenerative ag company with Helen and Hugo, who in this video set this business up when they were in their 60s. And it's an online company sharing originally DVDs to all people around the world. It's been going for about 13 years, and you can explore their story a bit more, but they went traditional ag shop selling chemicals and then noticed that there was skull and bones on the buckets and went, why are we putting this on our food? And why are people wearing masks when they're applying it? And so they transitioned to educate farmers all around the world on how to farm without chemicals is the goal, and chemical free and regenerative. So all about soil health and a lot of the things that people mentioned in the intro. So super excited to be hanging out with all you today. I came across Farming Secrets because I've had a real passion, and I'll go a bit deeper about my whys and my values around education. And I just get fired up when I have the ability to learn something and then more importantly, teach it to someone else. It's kind of the value I have of learning out loud. I'm always making videos and tips and tricks for people via video format. It's definitely my strong suit. And we run lots of webinars and it gets me fired up. In fact, I did a very quick video to one of my groups just before this video to get myself in the mood. I call it my fix. Like it gets me on a high, making live videos and presenting. So I've learned to understand my strengths and also my weaknesses and just put myself in a sweet spot. So I got to partner with Farming Secrets about 3 years ago, and I started off as an affiliate, helping them grow their business and making a little bit of extra money on the side while I had my 9-to-5 traditional working style. And what happened is I got more and more involved to the point where I'm now part of their succession plan, and I'm a partner to bring their business, which is now our business, into the next generation. So we have online courses, we sell products, and we've gone through the process of digitalizing everything and making it a lot more on demand kind of setup. No more DVDs, physical shipping, everything digital, courses, community, and we run fortnightly classrooms similar to this, where we just get to hang out with some amazing people. And so that's the main project. But what's happened since doing this is I've also discovered this wonderful world of soil health and growing really nutritional dense food. And I discovered a word called a multi-potentialite. And it was from a TED talk, and I talk about it all the time because I really resisted a lot of the advice out in the business world that was about pick one thing, do one thing, and niche down. And that really always resisted with me. And I share that because I know that that's probably a lot of the dilemmas that happens in people's mind when they're told to pick a niche and just focus on one thing. And so I struggled with that for a very long time. And then I realized that I could actually make a lot of things kind of work together just by focusing on my biggest core, which is education. So before I go into my MOKR, I will I have a very basic personal website that I have purely for myself. My little catchphrase is to stay sharp. It comes from a podcast I launched several years ago, which was called The Razor Sharp Show. And it comes from the 7 habits of highly effective people, which the 7th habit is to sharpen the saw. And when I read that, I went, wow, that's basically what I do. I'm very curious. When I was younger, families stopped buying me toys because I would break them and pull them apart. I always wanted to know what was in the inside and how it works. And that's kind of how I've lived my life. I'm always asking why. And so I've kind of built this little brand now around staying sharp. And it's basically about learning something new every day, but then also teaching it. And so there's a little bit here about myself, which I'll let you guys explore. But what I wanted to share with you right now, just to set the scene, is my values. And my number one value is education. And I love solving problems and I love caring. This value used to say sustainability until I discovered that if we keep things the way they were, we have a broken world that sustains to be broken. So my values do change over time, and I definitely am now on the pathway of being a regenerative human, and just being really conscious about my actions and what I share. I love encouraging people, and I'm on the journey of, you know, minimalizing my life. The image in the background is actually 40-acre farm that an ex-partner of mine had, and we've lost access to that recently. So that was kind of like the part of my world that got shaken up. I went from having a lot of clarity and knowing exactly what my 60-year plan was, to it all kind of being a bit of an unknown. And so I felt a little bit lost for a little while, and being in this group and hanging around with, you know, Farming Secrets and really spreading my love for education. A lot of windows, doors, and anything that can open has flung open, and worlds of possibilities have come into my life. So I've kind of recently redone my mission, and it's very, very large and audacious. And what happened is recently I did a program that made me really just slow down and be very present. And I had a lot of aha moments, and even doing the Dreamcatcher course and the Pando Academy within this group, there was a lot of things that kept coming up. And I'm just like, why do I feel like I need to solve all the problems, which is one of my values, by yesterday and tomorrow? And I put all this false sense of emergency on myself, which just caused me to be paralyzed. So I recently became okay with the fact that the world that I want to live in may not actually be during my lifetime, but at least I'll die trying. And so I 10x, 100x, 1000x all my visions and values. And so my mission really now is just to be involved in as many platforms as possible that encourage education. And my mission is to basically reach every human on the planet. And I know that's a big challenge because there's language barriers, but I'm calling it hashtag 7.5 billion. So I know the population will probably grow, but I really want to have this ability to just impact as many people's lives on this journey that I have at the moment, which leads me into my current chat with you guys today. So this is my MOKR document, and Josh will go through how to use this, and there's videos on YouTube that explain that as well if you're active and want to know more about how to actually formalize it. But really, for me, I just want to commit to myself. So what happened is I always felt really like I was running myself thin. I was like putting some time here, some time there, some time here, and I never felt like I was giving every project its justice. And so recently I really discovered that if I just focus on education and I can work on many different platforms that has education as the end goal, then that gets me closer to impacting as many people's lives. And so working with lots of different people and doing a Colby A test has made me I realize that I'm someone who likes multitasking. I get bored if I do one thing. So in order for me to set myself up for success, I do need that diversity of different projects, different communities, different people, and I get a lot of buzz out of that. My personality type thrives on that, and it's not for everyone. So instead of just going really deep on one thing, I've kind of come across this analogy of like a T. They call it a T-bar personality. So it's like I'm really wide and a bit of a generalist, and I can be many things to many people, but I can go deep in education. So as long as the projects I'm working on help people be a better version of themselves, I know it's moving me more forward to my mission and value. So for me, I want to commit to connect to as many people online, companies, to really unpack their impact and reach as many people as they can. I've hung out in the online community all my life. I started my first online business, 15 years ago when I was still at high school, and I've self-taught myself. And I really feel like, especially now with post-COVID, everyone's been forced to embrace online communities, Zoom, video conferencing, we're kind of like at that tipping point now. But online education and learning has always been really the companies I've worked for, and I've learned a lot. So for myself now with the Stay Sharp group, my kind of view is that by the end of October, I would really like to have 10 people who are paying me money to help unpack their online course, moving their knowledge from in their mind and working one-to-one to moving to one-to-many. And because this is a little bit of a new idea, for me to kind of now go, well, I can help many different people I've had to take a little bit of a step back. So a little bit of my thoughts is that I do need to kind of brainstorm and strategize how I can, best serve this community of people. And so I've kind of thought that, I will like to have a few beta clients. And in fact, last week, a client came on board, and I wrote this document a couple of weeks ago, and it's just really weird. I mean, not weird, I know how the universe works, but you commit something on paper and that kind of appears in your universe. And so a lady who has been following me for some time, but we never really connected, reached out randomly and said, hey, I've got an online course idea and I want to work with you. I don't know why, but I just want to work with you. And I said, well, that's funny because I'm looking to unpack a couple of people's knowledge. And she helps non-for-profits set up their business for succession and make sure that, non-for-profits don't get to the point of community board members stepping away and then no one really picks up the slack. And the fact that she's working with non-for-profits and she has a framework that's been working for years and she just wants to turn that into an online course. I'm like, you're the perfect person I've been looking for. So her and I are now working together. We actually have a call after this meeting to unpack what that journey is going to look like. So I've already got one beta client. And the reason for that is to help build thanks Josh. The reason for that is to help me unpack my framework. I'm very big on building things with people, not for people. And so I could sit here and design a framework that I think everyone needs, but I'd much rather do it with people. And so I just would like a couple of people in two different niches or two different areas to unpack this and build my framework in exchange for testimonial and case study success. I'd like to have 10 paying clients by the end of October. Now, the 10 paying clients may not necessarily be, I probably need to be a little bit clearer on this because people could pay me $1 or they could pay me $1,000. But I think from my point of view, I just need to validate whether there's a need for it, and having people pay to hang out with me during this journey, it probably just is my imposter syndrome kind of being there going, I need some validation that people want to actually hang out and do this with me. So breaking it down into some lead metrics, as I mentioned, get 2 clients to help build the process and the framework. That's my kind of build it with them rather than for them. Better understand the problems that they need to be solved. I think one of the problems that's come up already is that people are running out of time to do one-on-one coaching and consulting. And so they want to increase their reach by turning their knowledge into an online journey. It doesn't necessarily need to be a course. It could be a community, it could be like it doesn't need to be a course. So it just, how do they, go from one-to-one to one-to-many? The process for me is something that's a little bit unknown. Like I've got a lot of knowledge around what's worked in other people's communities, what's worked in other employment. And I guess what I really want to validate to myself is which parts of all these different ideas and frameworks that I kind of have ready at my disposal do people who want to leave a legacy and an impact and not just be driven by profit and money really kind of work. I've got a marketing background, and sometimes I come across a bit salesy because it's just the world I've lived in too long, and so it doesn't work for everyone. So I'm taking a bit of an open mind to go, here are all the tools in my toolbox, but they might not be the right tool for this community or for this movement. So I'm just keeping an open mind and making sure that it's the right thing for them. So getting more familiar with the processes and having that open dialogue with the beta clients to say, does this create resistance? How do you feel about this? And just record a lot of how-to videos. I love people asking me questions and then I reply video replies because it helps them, but then I get to archive it in my group and also on YouTube, and then it can help other people. So it's just about leveraging my time, and I want to build a better process in getting that content and then syndicating it through my private group and my YouTube channels. So it's a gift that keeps on giving. I'm not protective of content. I think the more you give, the more you receive. So I don't worry about intellectual property or like sharing inner secrets. It's like I come from a space of abundance when it comes from that point of view. So the more I share, the more people kind of want to work with me. One of the things that I also need to get sorted is my CRM and like something like Trello. I don't necessarily need to invest money, but I just feel like I've got a lot of conversations going everywhere. And while I may see on the surface that I've got stuff sorted, and I embrace automation and a lot of marketing tools, sometimes balls drop and plates fall that I'm spinning because I just forget about someone. I'm like, oh God, that chat from 3 weeks ago, I didn't get back to that person. So getting sorted from that point of view, and really just kind of reaching out and expanding my network, because I feel like my network at the moment is a lot of people who I've hung around with for a long time, and they kind of know who I am, and they have a bit of an idea of that. But now that I'm in this space of kind of going down more this education thing, I know I've got this idea that I just need some new people in my life that can help me think a bit differently than the people I've kind of hung out with for the last few years. And I want to build regularity too. Like, I like the fact, I've probably taken a little bit of this from what Josh has done. I get a lot, I love the fact that every Friday morning I get to hang out with his group, and it's kind of like part of my routine now. I don't think about it. It's booked in my calendar. No one else can book this time. And so I'd like to have a little bit more routine. And that's what I mean by office hours here. A lot of marketing groups tend to have these office hours where it's like, I'm available between these times, come and hang out, whether that be a mastermind, whether that be some form of regular ongoing chat with the community. And since writing this document, I also launched with a friend of mine a 21-day challenge, and we're starting to build a little bit of that in a 21-day accountability challenge group. And again, that's just to build regularity. And we did it in a way as like, we have some challenges that we want to achieve. It's better if we open source this and do it together. And so we've tried to increase our chances of getting our challenges done by creating a group and being kind of paid for it. So that's just another little spin-off that's happened in the last 2 weeks since kind of putting this document together. And one of the things I really struggle with for some reason is making money. I tend to do a lot of things, do a lot of things for free. I like to do a lot of things for free. I like to give, and I think, you know, the world would deliver later on. But I do have bills to pay, and I do have life. Not that I spent the last 2 years since moving away from the farm life to, you know, what I call create an anti-fragile life, not be too committed to debt and other people's money, and trying to bring that back into my own domain. So I run tight budgets. I tend to know exactly how much it costs each month for me to live. Probably very boring for a lot of people, but I just like having control over that, just because of you know, previous experiences, being a bit protective of that. But I do struggle with asking for money, so I tend to like price things to what people can afford, which then probably sometimes does them injustice. And being around a lot of the business coaching that I've done and a lot of business and marketing groups, like, I'm normally the person who's like, let's just add a zero to that price and see if it works. But yet it's like, do as I say, but not as I do. So I have a lot of things that I do that is just very free and giving, and I'm okay with that. But I also need to keep myself afloat and things like that. So yeah, I want to get better at, you know, attracting financial reward, or you know, having a paid group where people are valuing the time to show up, because I've done the free thing for a very long time. Yeah, so I think that's basically what I wanted to run through. I guess from, you know, this, it feels a bit vague in my mind, because it is this whole new idea of like bringing a lot of projects together into one space. It's taken me a lot of years to get to that place of education being the pillar. I guess I'm looking at ways. One other thing I was going to show was the goal thermometer. I've had this idea of needing to visualize it, because I know 7.5 billion people is crazy, but I wanted to create a little bit of like this goal thermometer where it be let's just work on 100. Let's impact 100 people. And then the next stretch goal might be, 500. And so once the 100 goal is achieved, then we move to the 500 goal, and just the top goal keeps getting bigger and bigger and stretched. And so, yeah, I've been playing around with this idea as well, because I think having a thermometer with 7.5 as the goal, it can be very easy to lose the progress and the tiny things that happen. And I know that I've already impacted a lot of people's lives just through the reviews that I get. And so I kind of wanted to do a little bit of an audit and get people to, my idea with the thermometer is that when someone learns something from me, they'd actually go to the thermometer and log that they've had a stay sharp experience. So it'd be crowdsourced. And that was just one idea that I've had one day, where it's like, how do I get other people to commit that I've had some impact and taught them something? Yeah, so that was just another idea that I've had as well. So a bit of a tracker type of thing. So that is me.
Very cool. Thank you, Ray. I love the dashboard, by the way. And I want to see that integrated. Like every time I have a learning experience from Ray, I'm gonna be like, ding. I guess maybe that would be double accounting, but
yeah. Well, I reached out to someone last night to see if they'd be open to like coding it. Yeah, so actually it is top of mind, and yeah, I just yeah, I think it'd be cool. One of my goals is do a TED talk. So it's like, I'd love to do a TED talk, and then like at the end of it, go like, pull out your phone and go to like this domain and like share something you've just learned, and then like thousands of people, and then we could see the thermometer going up. Like I get goosebumps talking about it. So yeah, that would be cool.
I think that's a great idea, and I want to see it happen. So we're gonna open it up to the group now, and Ray's just gonna let us chat and ask him questions. Feel free to try to get clarity, and then let's really try to help him move forward these objectives that he's working on. If there's resources that you have, if there's context, he is looking to expand his network, please share, and let's start it off.
Awesome. And I just want to say that I come from the hospitality industry, so I have thick skin. I've had people throw burgers at me. I've had people yell at me. Roar as you want to. I've got thick skin. I just cry privately.
I'm not going to roar at you. So I love that the visualization. You probably know I am all about make it visual, make it pretty. I just want to say I have done something kind of similar, just in terms of like a visual tracking. That has been really helpful for me in terms of manifesting money into my life that I track. Other than just like the budgeting going out, but actually like setting manifesting goals for coming in. You've probably messed around with that. I love doing that.
Yep. I track more the money going out. That's very true. Like I know exactly how much my life costs. I never tend to, budget for what's coming in. It's just a little bit feast and famine sometimes.
Sure. Man, preaching to the choir over here. Yeah. But it's super helpful to like look back and like see the coming in, because sometimes it's like, oh, come in, but it has to go out, right? Because we're in this current. Yeah. But like, let's really be conscious of what is coming in and celebrate that, right? So I do have a question. So I'm looking at basically your vanity page, right? Like, hey, milidoni.com. And so I'm curious, is this going to be this Stay Sharp group? Is this like an attachment on there? Because you have a bunch of things, right? Like farming secrets and all these things. Is this going to be kind of a tab on there? Is this a whole new venture? Is this a solo venture? I'm curious how, like, is this a one-on-one mentoring kind of situation? Because it sounds like you're trying to go one to many, but also one-to-one. So I'm curious about that.
So yeah, great question. It is definitely, it's an extent. So the Ray Milidoni page is more about like who I am. And so that would be more about what I'm working on, the projects, and a little bit more of a personal brand and personal persona. My parent company is called the Stay Sharp Group. The way that I envision it is that I'm looking more for, I guess my ideal client would be someone who's already working in the space that has impact or reach. So if I'm able to impact them or work with them, and initially it may be a little bit more of a one-on-one while I find my frameworks and my methods, and a bit of a system and a flow, because I feel like, I don't know, just me personally, I like that feedback loop at that one-on-one level. But the vision would be to like, you know, like the thermometer type of thing. You know, my brain goes, well, how is this, you know, a way of helping other people as well. So build a tool or build a framework just for myself, but how can other people plug in and go, well, I want a goal tracker like that, and then kind of magnify it to other people being able to use the tools as well. But ideally would be like one to many would be my ultimate goal, where, you know, running a session like this where everyone is course creators or education professionals who are out impacting thousands of people. And so I might have 10 people in the room speaking to 10 people who then go and roll something out, and then they are my times formula, you know, so 10 people then go and do 1,000 things, so it's 10 times 1,000. That would be kind of my view on that. Yeah. So to answer your question, it is a separate thing. It would probably, I have holding domains. I haven't built anything, but I just kind of, be separate entity.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
I have one more question. Josh, you need to mute. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, we're getting echo over here. So my other question is, no, I just got distracted with Josh. Let me come back to it.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's cool.
Real quick
Yeah.
though, it looks like Jillian and Hannah would both be interested in the services, right?
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
So, and maybe what would be kind of cool is Hannah and Jillian share what you're interested about and give them a little bit of feedback of like why you're excited and those types of things. That would be helpful.
Okay. Maybe I could go first.
Hold on. Could you also say, because this was actually gonna be my question, Ray brought up the pain of being short on time. And so I'm curious, for those of you who are interested, is that really your pain? Or is it something else? Like, what is the pain that would satisfy? That was what I was going to throw in.
Okay, I don't know. That question kind of threw me a bit, so I don't know if I'm going to work that in at all. Ray, what I'm working on, well, way too many projects, but what made me think that I might be good either for hiring you as your services or as a beta client. I do coaching. I call it personal resilience for planetary resilience. And so it's trauma release work around mind, body, medicine practices. In fact, I was on my way down to Australia to help with fire recovery from an ecological standpoint, as well as this. And so I'm getting ready to lead a course for youth activists and really want to help expand this out to people who are dealing with the trauma of ecosystem collapsing and everything that we're going through. And so what are some practices that we can do? And this is a 8-week-long course that I'm trained in, but then I bring in 20 years as a professional healer with my own special sauce that I add. And so that was one thing that I was like, oh, well, that could be very useful, having his coaching to help set that up. And then one of the things that I could offer you, regardless, is we're about to relaunch weavernetwork.org. And that is a networking platform to really help network the permaculture and regenerative movements, as well as lots of other people that are just change makers in the planet. But that could be a great place to, I don't want to say advertise, because we don't want to have advertisement, but to promote your services to people who are looking to do their online courses and their stuff. And we really want to have a lot of resources for just upping people's personal game. And so even if it's maybe just come on and do workshops and stuff like that. So that's a separate resource that we can.
And I love that resource as well, because that's kind of the communities I want to embed in. Because yeah, I get a lot of fulfillment as seeing other people win. And so I can buy into other people's goals and outcomes really easily. And so like going into a community like that and going with everyone, yeah, that's like, I want to see everyone else win, and then I subtly win as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. So, and like, I wouldn't promote, I'd sit there making, 500 videos, helping everyone get their stuff sorted. And then I know that that's having a positive impact. So yeah, that would be totally awesome. And if you don't mind sharing that link, just to get the spelling and so forth, I didn't want to be distracted while you were chatting. Yeah, so that's awesome. Thanks for that. And we can chat deeper. Oh, Weaver. Yeah, cool network. Sweet.
Yeah, and I put my email in there. And I'm sorry, I do have to leave because I have to take this little one for a walk, and she's just that big handful. So we have to get going.
Well, lovely connecting, and thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, and yeah, it's great work, and thanks Joshua and Emily for helping people walk through this process. So
yeah, thanks Hannah for joining us.
Yeah, take good care. Thank you. Bye, Hannah.
And I think Jillian was the other person who said might be a good beta candidate. So I'd love to hear why.
Yeah.
And
I can kind of answer like what it was that resonated or whatever for me. I mean, there were a couple of things when you were describing your background that I felt like were resonating. I mean, one was just the thought of education being kind of a lever, and then the work with Farmer Secret, that sort of clicked with maybe the model that they have, but I'm probably not in the stage that you then later described, because I don't have a practice that's well established yet. I mean, I do have a couple of farmers in this area that I work with, and I sort of have this vague sense that I want to try to do like one-on-one consulting or group consulting over time, but I'm seeing a course as a lead generation for another consulting and like another way to kind of scale. And where I'm at is trying to figure out like what is even the business model, and how does it even work, what is it, and the other piece of that with me too is trying to figure out how to make that into a pattern that is kind of the lifestyle that I would like to have. I would like to be done with sort of the 9-to-5 grind, and be more like working remotely and have freedom to travel and kind of work on some of these projects and things. So trying to figure out how do I make a business model that fits that as well in my own personal kind of desires beyond having the impact that I'm trying to have too.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because one of the thoughts I've been having is the fact that a lot of people chase financial freedom, and there's a big kind of FIRE movement. I know it's bigger in America. A lot of people in Australia don't understand the FIRE movement, but it's like I'm more after lifestyle freedom. It's like there's that kind of double-ended side of things. Like, yeah, you could earn more, just kind of holds you to working more, or you could also scale your life back and be fulfilled out of having less belongings. And it's not about like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that you went down the lifestyle thing as well, because it's not always about, especially for me, it's like, I'm very, like, this is the earliest call I get up for. My meetings normally start at 10, like I'm very precious in a way, but I have boundaries. I say precious, but it's more boundaries of like, I work between 10 and 4. That's my sweet spot. I run webinars at 11 a.m. because it works for me. And that's when my energy is at my peak. So I just really know myself. I know how to manage my energy. And I really want to work with people who can go through that as well and go, that's why I'm very big on building something with people, because that's the best feedback loop you can have and create. Because I come from the tech startup background with like the lean startup methodology and minimum viable product, like launch really lean and rough, and create feedback loops.
Now that's my background too, actually. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So so that's it's just interesting that you went to the lifestyle side of things, and because I've been building my life around being remote, and so we're now working from home because of COVID. And in Melbourne, we have really strict lockdowns. We can't go more than 4 kilometers, and it's a bit crazy. And like, it hasn't affected me as much, because the last 2 years I've really been building my life around working from cafes or anywhere with an internet connection. And so I'm okay. And now what I'm trying to do is help as many people who are struggling with that, how to navigate working from home and how to be okay with your own company, not having that office buzz environment, And sometimes it's like, hey, Google, play cafe sounds, and you can have a cafe environment, little hacks like that. Cool.
Jillian, I think you brought it up in there a little bit as well, but I just wanted to maybe ask, and I was going to try to ask Hannah this too, for Ray's kind of market research style. What is your single greatest challenge when it comes to getting your course up or creating the lifestyle that you want? You can pick either one, but pick one of them, right? Because I think you kind of hit on that, like you want to do this because of the lifestyle you want to have, but also what is that challenge? Maybe you can share with them.
It's probably largely clarity, but or getting clarity, but it's also like, because I'm still working full time and I feel like I'm trying to find like, what's the other leg I can stand on so that I can get to the next thing, but I can't ever like get off of the leg that I'm on, because I'm like, it's still the income and it still takes up, 10 hours out of every day. And so it's also kind of balancing, like there's certain things I find I can fit into the day, even when I'm very busy, I can still do 10 other things of a certain class of thing. But then there's other class of things where it's like, when I really need to like make content or write or something, like it's so hard for me. And it's so hard for me to like have the energy left to do that. Whereas, I can research, or I can read, or I can, go to calls like this, you know what I mean? And it just fits in around all the little spaces. So it's a time thing, but it's like an energy thing, fitting it around everything else, if that helps. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it does to understand the emotions, but go ahead.
We are very similar the way that you explain that. It's because I'm the same. Like I can never schedule time to make content unless someone asks me a question and I make them a video reply. Like that, it's just like I've learned to hack. I often will go on Facebook and be like, give me a business question, and like some people are stupid with it, but I have fun with it as well. But I always seem to be able to deliver content when it's for someone else's agenda and not my own agenda. And that's why my Trello lists get really long, because I'm just letting myself down, or I'm just not doing my stuff. But the minute that someone else is waiting for me and I'll be like, I'll get back to you by Friday, I seem to
I'm exactly the
get it
same.
done.
Like when the things come out, it's like, oh, there's a deadline and this person is waiting to hear it. Then I can make it, right? But when it's like, oh, I've made my own plan and my to-do list, it's like, I have to be in the right mood,
Yeah. That's why my to-do list now has who I'm doing it for, because again, it's that whole psychology of like, I need to do this task for Bella. She's one of our staff members. Or I'm doing this for, the 21-day challenge group members, because I'm accountable to people and the outcome for them. But yeah, it's about like kind of like life hacking in a way. But yeah, I feel like we've got very similar characteristics, and so I'd love to hang out a little bit more.
But
Also,
but I don't know if I'm at the same stage that you're,
That's
what I mean?
okay.
An earlier stage, but anyway.
Yeah, but even this conversation's been great. So, let's just keep the conversation going. It might be in 6 months' time. But my thing is like, don't wait for your course to be ready. Like, build it with someone, because you will never find time to build it. And like, building a 12-week course or a 6-week course, and then getting to the end and going, oh, you missed this or you missed that. Then you feel like you can always add all the extra things in. So get that feedback loop early, because even in week 1, all these questions will come out, and then it's like, oh, we'll cover that next week. And so then like you're kind of building the runway as the plane's taking off. So that's that's some of the stuff that I've grabbed from other. I'm not pioneering any of this. It definitely comes from the lean startup. Build the runway as the plane's taking off. And your beta students will be very okay if the plane has to stop for a little bit as well. So yeah.
So anybody else have any resources or feedback or questions to help Ray clarify his business?
Sure.
Chad.
So I don't want to step on toes because this is my first meeting, but I do have a business background and I've mentored probably thousands of entrepreneurs. So there's something behind what I say. I've actually published Canada's longest running small and medium sized enterprise magazine. So I got a few things that I might offer, but first I want you to tell me in one phrase, what do you feel you need most?
What do I need most? God, that's a good one.
So there's part of the root of the problem right there.
Yep.
That's something you want to have an immediate answer for?
Yeah, belonging was the first word that came to mind. Tribe was the second word. And then I started analyzing whether that's what I actually need. But I think it's like-minded tribe is kind of what I needed the most. You know, that's kind of what popped up for me intuitively without me overthinking it.
Okay, so those things are all about, personal fulfillment and lifestyle. They're different than business. And one of the things that I learned the hard way is that most people in small business aren't suited to being in business because they're going in directions that don't mesh up well. And there's a lot of beliefs that are, I am either this or I am that. And we were talking about abundance and scarcity. And in reality, it's like an either or thing. But a lot of the things you were saying say like, I know exactly how much money I need to live. That's a scarcity thing. And then you're talking about, well, I live from abundance, but then the practices you've integrated don't fit with that. So I want you to think about the concept, and you talk about you're chasing all sorts of things and the things you love. But I want you to look at all the things you do and say, okay, of all these things you do, what are the ones that have the biggest returns for me, either in lifestyle or in financial freedom? And people think that you either have to have lifestyle or money, that they're mutually exclusive. And I'm just going to say that's complete nonsense. It's the worst mess of nonsense I've ever heard. Because if you look at the most successful people, they have both. So I'm just going to tell you, just squish that, kill it. Every time you hear it come up in your head, say no and change your train of thought. That's one of the single most destructive things that I hear. You've heard of the 80-20 rule?
Of course, Yeah.
So if you look at the metrics you've outlined in your MOKR, do you feel that those metrics will figure out what 20% are giving you the biggest returns, the most valuable returns? Again, you should be able to answer that right away. So you need to read your metrics so you can identify that 20% that gives you the most bang for your buck, whether it's money and lifestyle. I'm just going to say it right now. That gives you both money and lifestyle. Both. Say it with me. Both.
Right.
And going from that, there's this whole thing about, I don't want to charge people money. That's a scarcity thing. I worry about asking for money. I give a lot away for free. That's a scarcity thing. How can you make the pie bigger for your customers and share in that? Because you'll have, I think where you're at right now, you've got a lot of other clients who are like, money's tight. And that's true for most people right now with this whole COVID thing pounding us. Money's tight. So if you go to someone, you look at them, you've scoped them out and you're like, this person can get stuff done. They already have some money coming in. So I'll tell you what, I won't charge you for my time, but I get equity in whatever we create. We're going to come up with a clear way of measuring it. We are going to make the pie bigger for both of us. Let's do it. I know you can do it and I will help you do it.
And it's funny you say that because 2 of the 3 projects I'm working on, that's exactly how it's been set up. There is equity, there's skin in the game for both.
I don't see that in here, in your MOKR.
But that's, you're right.
That's big, dude. Run with it. Run with it. What gets measured gets done. If you're measuring the 20% that give you the most return and making the pie bigger from everyone, you win. That's all I got to say.
Awesome. That resonates with me. Thank you. Thanks for that. I think it's sometimes, a lot of this stuff happens in my mind and I guide other people to it. It's that whole do as I say, not as I do. And I just sometimes need to kick myself up the butt. But yeah, because Farming Secrets is the same thing. It's like I'm succession plan. There's a plan for me to take the business over to 100%. A few of the other projects.
You've got a lot of extra words that go along with all that, and a lot of extra ideas. There's also, I'm going to refer you to a book that might help you focus and simplify some of your stuff, because you're very mission focused for yourself and other people. Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
Keep it focused, succinct, powerful.
Yep. No, that's yep. Got it.
All right, my man.
Recommended that book.
Have fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Chad. Yeah, I am.
Chad, thanks for your feedback. And just so you know, being new to this is a peer-to-peer. So never feel like you're stepping on anybody's toes here. I'm a facilitator. We are all helping to facilitate the growth of whoever we're helping, and we're all learning together and learning from one another. So that's how this format is really set up. Kayal, since you unmuted it,
maybe I'll just chime in next. Ray, I really
Beatrice.
appreciated. Oops, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, really appreciated your story, like all the way, just following along, related to a lot of the journey. I don't have a whole lot of specific, like feedback. Though one thing I have a resonance with is, staying tuned in the process with you, and possibly, to the degree that it's useful. There's similarities in our journey also. So I'm inspired by what you're up to. And I guess part of it that I was curious about in terms of your accountabilities, I like that idea of anchoring your accountability to, giving it that context, and the way that reinforcing it, having an accountability ally or an external accountability. How do you do that with the accountabilities for yourself? Like, do you have a trick there?
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons why a buddy of mine, like last month we did our own accountability, and so it was kind of like an accountability buddy program, and then we kind of workshop. So then what we did is we open sourced it, and then this month we opened it up and we got 10 people to come on board, and we kind of run in an accountability group. And so we have like a private Facebook group where we're sharing each other's accountability. And so the whole purpose of that, it was like, if we're going to get a lot of success out of other people winning, and we read the Atomic Habits book and we put a couple of little frameworks together, we just then built this group and said, well, like, we need them to help keep us accountable and get shit done. So we kind of created this little bit of trickery of things. Yeah, that's kind of what we did there. It's like so like this month's 21-day challenge for me is very it's a bit of a fun thing, but because I didn't want it to be business driven just yet as these new members came in. But next month is definitely going to be more about getting the Stay Sharp brand underway. And like, just to share with everyone, my challenge is this 21 days is to declutter, which is actually helpful because I'm getting rid of a lot of these open loops and distractions, and I'm subscribing to a lot of shit and cleaning out my desktop. And it might seem silly, but it's like, when all these open loops are in my mind, it slows me down. So every time I look over and like, oh, I've got that things to sort, it's like, it's decision fatigue. It's like, it's tiring me out. So I just did this 21-day challenge to be like, I want to declutter my life digitally and physically. And that's kind of investing into the future. And it doesn't come across as being like a massive business goal, but it is very business orientated. And while I'm doing it, I'm leaving a Trello board of all the things that I'm doing to potentially turn it into like an entrepreneur's digital detox course or mini course or program.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's inspiring to me. I mean, I guess there's one other thing I'd reflect back. Well, yeah, because first of all, 21-day challenge, it's a good scale, it's a good project process. I'm into that. Successfully, I've done a couple of those. Not led them, but I also recently I was going to launch a course right before COVID hit, and then I didn't. So I tend to not do my personal work also. Like, I tend to work for other people or work on things that are more collaborative rather than launch my own thing. So there might be something that I would be able to pick up from you around that. Yeah, and I think you mentioned Emily Wapnick's TED Talk, the multi-potentialite thing earlier on.
Yep.
Yeah, I draw a lot of inspiration from that. It's my path as well, and I think the ability to sort and organize amid those channels is that's a whole other place. So yeah, it'd be fun to talk more about that at some point too. So,
yeah, I got to interview
meet
her on my podcast, so so it was really cool. Like her TED Talk was like, the first time I watched it, I vividly remember it. I just got goosebumps because I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what I've been challenged with. When I did, and then further on, I went down that rabbit hole. And even my Colby A, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Colby A tests, but it's more about how you work and how you get shit done. Like me having 100 tabs open works for me. Like that works for me. It might freak other people out, and it's like, awesome, you and I know me. And I'm just kind of getting tired of everyone like saying, don't have 100 tabs open. Like, awesome, that might work for you. But in my psychology, I like the fact, like smorgasbord boards, restaurants are the best for me. I get a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of that. And that's how I work as well. Like I can jump really well, and people might say, oh, the science behind it. I'm like, I don't care. Well, the science can catch up when they study me. Like put me in a sample space. I'll give you data that doesn't support your science. Do you know what I mean? Oh no, you admit that. Anyway, another conversation. Anyway, so like I know my workflow, and I'm sick of resisting other people's thing.
Beatrice was next, and then MP, go ahead.
Okay. Yes, thanks. Ray, I had a question about your client profiles, and if you had a sense of what does that look like. I'm sure there are multiple client profiles based on the different stage of where they are in terms of their online education and platform. And in order to have a focus in your message and marketing, you may need to have a clear ideas of who you're talking to and what is the value, the specific value that you're delivering for each type of client profile. What does that look like?
And that's a very good question. And with my marketing background, it's definitely there. At the moment, it's very vague because I'm trying to, like, I guess my thought around this is that I want to work with a couple of beta people to say, what's the value that I delivered, or what, because I don't want to mistakenly feel like I'm solving a problem that I think everyone needs done. So at the moment, my kind of top level thing is that I'm looking for people who are already running online educational companies, whether that be they've got a course, or they've got a community. I guess like that overarching umbrella at the moment is if you're already running an online education company like Farming Secrets, they, in hindsight, are almost like an ideal client. They were already running an online an online education company to the point where, like, back 5 years ago, it was actual DVDs, but they're still selling them online and shipping DVDs out. They are the type of things. They're the type of companies that I want to work with, and like even people who want to launch a course but didn't. I think launching a course during COVID is perfect because everyone's got more time. And so just working with people who are a bit stuck. And I don't know how to articulate that value. And I think I will get clearer as I get some more use cases coming through, maybe. It's
I think that working for a company that is already online, like Farming Secrets, and helping Gillian launch her first course is going to be a completely different experience and a completely different value proposition. So I think having that clarity would be really important.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yep, love that. Thank you. Yep. Awesome.
That's kind of along the lines of what I was sort of touching on too. Can you guys, am I cutting out?
No, you're good.
Okay, I'm afraid I'm going to try to make it quick because you guys cut out a lot because of my connection. But anyway, I just wanted an observation that I had was that, since coming to these MOKRs, that I've gotten so much inspiration from the things that you say. And I even have one thing written that you said last week, like, don't say but, use and all this kind of stuff. And like, I guess you answered the question of your target audience, but like somebody like me might not know that I would benefit from you or what you're offering. So it's just like one of these really difficult things. How do you really like pitch it
I don't know, like I feel like I've learned so much from you and I find you so inspiring. I'm like, I want to launch a podcast just to have you on it. But like,
Thank you.
so I
know,
just
and how
wish
do I
that
bottle that up? into a
I
product?
know, exactly. That's so hard. Like, how do you reach the people? But I mean, I guess the more you just have focus on one group first, and then yeah, word of mouth will spread itself. But yeah, that was just the observation I wanted to give on that, because sometimes even my work, and sometimes people don't even know what they need. Like, I would have known that I needed this, or that I needed some, whatever. You just kind of think you have it all figured out. Not everybody. Some people do know that they need help, but a lot of people don't know what kind of help they need even. So I don't know, how do you pitch that or formulate it? So
yeah, I agree. Yep. And like, just with the other overarching thing is, I'm very driven to companies who are having positive impact. You know, I know, again, it's very hard, but like, I wouldn't want to work for like a coal company who's doing an online course on how to mine better. Like, that would just be a very massive value in mismatch. So it's like, yeah, just like impactful projects. And I know the word came up just recently about change makers. Like, the first beta client, her business name is Change Makers. You know, it's just like, they're the type of people that I want to be working with. And that's like, to answer the question before, like the tribe, the people I just want to hang around with, so many people who make me feel like I'm still playing small, just to kind of push me to that next level. Go, oh my God, you built 100 schools. Like, I want to be part of that. Like, I don't know what I don't know yet. But I just know that I'm drawn to very, you know, I can get emotional watching gold buzzers on Australia's Got Talent, because I get so empathetic about the emotions that they're going through getting a gold buzzer on the TV screen. Like, that gives me goosebumps. I don't know why, but I just observe that and go, how do I create more real life gold buzzer moments for other people that then give me goosebumps, and be part of that journey and be part of that impact, and say, we did this together, you know?
Ray, MP, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, even having like a live thing, like free once in a while, I think that would, just like today, you already have 2 people who are just like, you know, like, I want to join. Even Hannah was like, I'll even pay you right away. So maybe doing that sort of idea at first too, to just like have these informal sessions. People can know you, and you can shine. You can really shine. You don't have to research Ray on a website. You can just be like, come see what I'm all about or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yep. No, awesome. Yeah. Yep. Perfect.
And I to kind of talk to what Beatrice and MP kind of brought up, that different type of client, but seeing, you know, someone that's early stage and seeing someone that's later stage, and like being excited about both, because you're really excited about that mission and the value that someone, you know, that's doing a purpose-driven mission themselves, right? And I see that becoming like, you can work with them, but choose where you're working at, and maybe create the value ladder. And I know you kind of understand that as well. I was like, what does the value ladder look like right now? Like, and is there a life cycle of that? Like, starting off, maybe it's better for Jillian to get the content on a more educational e-learning platform and kind of practice what you preach, in a sense, right? And then for someone to engage with you more on a one-on-one, or on a you know, integration of diving into the company as a consultant. But what does your value ladder kind of look like? And maybe play around with that as you are experimenting with different types of people and having these betas and seeing like, do I really like working with this client? Can I possibly even work with this client to pay the bills type of deal? And getting a feel, because I think that's how you're working at it. And I work the same way, right? As like, I just get out there and I throw it out there, and if whoever starts to play with it, I start playing with them, right? And then if I don't like playing with them, I try to find someone else to bring in and play with them, right? And we work very similar that way. But as you're doing that, is there a value ladder that you can provide? Because you're trying to still help that same mission for even that person that's just starting, but also that person that's like farming secrets or beyond, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that as well, because it's like it feels more scalable that way. It's like, don't have to give the same level of service or deliverabilities to different people depending where they're at on that ladder. And I think it's a good visual kind of aid as well to say, where are you at on this ladder? And go, okay, cool, you're here. Well, these are the things that we can do together. Oh, you're here. Okay, well then you need to be playing over here. Yeah, I like that. I actually do like. I love that idea. Yep.
I want to build on what Joshua was talking about in terms of this value. I believe that actually people buy less services. They buy the effect that those services are providing in their life. So to have a mundane example, if I want to make a good omelette and I need a perfect pan for the omelette, I don't really care about the pan. I'm caring about the omelette and the quality of the result, right? It's a silly example, but it illustrates my point. It's about the effect that this is going to have on my life. And depending on what I'm trying to do in my life, I'm going to need different things, and you're going to have to pitch me a different level of value in terms of the effect.
Okay. Yep. I love that. Yep. Yeah. I love that. I want to be the world's best omelet maker. I don't care about the pan. It's just I want the badge of the omelet. Yeah. Outcome. Yep. Awesome.
Hey Ray, quick question. Just out of curiosity, have you figured out your archetypes yet?
My own personal one.
Yeah.
I've never done the archetype side of things. Yeah, I've never done that one. I've done a billion other tests, but not the archetype. Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. You should do it, and then I can share what I think it is, and you can see if I have you pegged.
Okay. Yeah. Done. Let's do that. Because if you don't mind sharing the link to I remember a couple of weeks ago we spoke about one. I had the tab open, but I never completed it. Yeah.
Okay. I'll look that up.
Yep. Awesome. That sounds good. Good. Well, thanks everyone. It's been very, very, very helpful. So I really appreciate it. And it's good to see that, the idea go from here to here, and then, get the feedback loop. It's been really, really magical. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. It's been really great having you do your MOKR. I've been waiting for this day actually, and I've been kind of egging you on for a little bit to submit a MOKR. And MP, I'm waiting for that day too. And anybody else that really wants to be here, Beatrice, Kiala, Chad, come join us. This is a real amazing peer-to-peer network. You can actually view, we're posting, we get your permission to do this, but on YouTube, we share these MOKRs. So Ray's will be up. If you ever want to review it, comment on it, or revisit it, as well as, anybody else, Yanni is given hers. I've given mine as a part of the group, and have kind of opened up and been vulnerable about sharing what's going on in our business. And we can still come back and chat with each other and say, oh yes, Ray's working on this. How's your stuff going on? And you can come back and revisit your MOKR or share your MOKR results as well. There is a document I'm going to bring up real quick here. Well, actually, I just created this, so excuse the ugliness of it and the not quite designed all the way.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, yeah, she hasn't approved, especially the creative designer over here, our graphic designer and everything else. This is the email list, guys. So that I just barely created the form and the email list for it. Please, if you want to get on the email list and know when things are coming up, whose MOKR's coming up. We don't do a MOKR every week. It depends on who is scheduled, but definitely get on the email list, and we can make sure that you know when things are going to be happening, the links and so forth to get on. And then one last thing, or a couple other things here. The MOKR document, Emily, could you find that for me? Because I have
Josh, I think you shared that privately to me.
Yeah, he didn't post it privately.
Oh, whoops. There we go.
Yeah, I hate that with Zoom.
Yeah. Why do you keep on that one?
Wait, you mean the schedule you want me to share?
Yeah, share the MOKR.
I can copy and paste it if you want.
Well,
copy and paste it.
That's your MOKR. I'm saying the template.
Yeah, the mastermind, the Seeds of Talos, MOKR Mastermind.
Okay. Okay,
That's
thanks.
the link that Josh just sent to me. Yep.
And if you can find the template and post that, because yeah, I'm this like dyslexic mess when I get in front of people on a camera. Everything is everywhere on my computer, and I don't know how to focus. It's really bad.
Everyone's the same. Oh, most people are the same.
And
There's
I,
100 tabs, man.
yeah. And I should clean it up when I get on things, and then I get on here and I'm like, oh, why didn't I clean this up? Sometimes I am good and I clean it up and I have all the links ready for you guys, but not today. But Emily's going to pull that up for me, the template. I believe, yeah, search for it. I don't even know where it is right now. Okay. If you want to submit a MOKR, we're going to put this template in there. It's the same template that Ray used. And then in that, there's some instructions you probably saw as you were looking at Ray's. But you can post to a Excel spreadsheet that has a link in there and share when you want, find a date that you want to come on. Otherwise, if we don't have a MOKR, we actually don't record these. We only record the MOKR and maybe an expert matter. So like Chad, it sounds like you have a lot of experience. We can come in, and if the group is willing to or needing some help in a certain area that you can provide, or Beatrice or anybody that has background on a certain material, we can come in and we can talk about it if the group is really wanting that. And so we will record something like that. We record the MOKR masterminds, but some days we just get on here and we just chat about our challenges of being an entrepreneur, being someone that's running projects in the regenerative space, and just have a peer-to-peer network. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please invite others to come and join us as well. And when it does get bigger, we're going to have to break this up a little bit and create some other spaces. But if you're also willing, Ray was willing as well as some others to be a lead for certain areas and spaces as well, because I would like to see this grow beyond, but we want to keep it between that 10, 15 max when people get on here and have this experience. All right, so feedback for Seeds of DAO and GRC stuff. If you're enjoying this, is this something that adds value to GRC? Is this something that adds value to you? And as a company, Seeds of DAO, we would love to hear your feedback as well in this last 9 minutes or so.
One question I have is, do you ever publish the MOKR before the session itself? Because depending on who is presenting and who needs help and the type of help, it might attract different people. So for me, it would have been, for instance, useful to know what was the need for tonight. Yes.
So we do, in the MOKR Mastermind schedule, it's an Excel spreadsheet. It has the dates for the rest of the year, and then I'll add another one for next year as we come into the last month. There is, you could see that, but because we're adding to the oh goodness, email list now. We're starting to build the email list. I'll be sending what's coming up for the coming week. If it's just going to be us getting together and chatting, or if we're going to have a MOKR, or if we're going to have an expert matter speaker.
Yeah, sorry, I hadn't opened the calendar, so I see what you're talking about now.
Okay.
However, we also have in our Slack community, we have a channel that's specifically for the MOKR Masterminds. So if people are going along or putting them together and really like hitting a wall, they can communicate to the rest of the group through that channel. So there is that other like in between weekly communication channel if it's needed also.
I can send you a link to the Slack to sign up for the Slack channel. That link haven't set up the form to make sure everybody gets set up under Slack for the current builder. But if you sign up for the emails, you'll most likely, I'll put you guys in the Slack community as well, or give you the opportunity for the invite for the Slack is what it will be. But that's not quite yet. So I will just give you the Slack.
I just did.
Okay, thank you. So separate from GRC's Slack, I'm in like, I hope that doesn't bother you guys to have multiple Slack channels, but I'm in like 10 Slack channels at a time. And I just kind of go through those. But we are hoping to have more community conversation in the Slack channel as well. Well, thank you guys. We have 6 more minutes here. Is there any other housekeeping things or that you can think of, Emily?
Hey, MP, when are you going to sign up?
I don't know. I just
It's okay.
can't find the time. I want to.
I'm giving you a hard time.
I'm so glad Beatrice and Kiala and Chad and Jillian are here. No, then the weight can be lifted from me.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people that are saying they've been trying to make it, but haven't been able to make it. So as this expands, hopefully we can find some different times for other people, because I know this isn't the best time for everybody. So again, on timing and bringing people in. So the more people we invite, the better that we can get this to different time zones in different places for people to kind of break away.
Well, I just want to say thank you for everyone's feedback, contributions, attention, and the virtual love that I've received from all of you. It's very nice and great to be around amazing change makers. So thank you.
Good luck, Ray.
No
Thank you, everyone. Very nice meeting.
It helped.
Thanks, Joshua and Emily, for facilitating.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think that's it. We can just hang out in here and chat if you guys have any questions. But you're welcome to leave soon. Thanks again, everybody, for coming.
Thanks so much.
Ray, what did you get? Wait, neither. On the quiz. Did you do it?
Oh no, I was not going to do it just then. No, sorry. Sorry, I didn't know you wanted me to do it straight away.
Now.
Yeah, I know. How long does the quiz take? I've got the time open.
Like 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I didn't
It's
realize
like so quick. It's so quick.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye, MP.
Because I got a 10:30 meeting on the dot, so like.
No, you're fine. Let me do it and then Slack me.
Yeah, I'll screenshot it and Slack you.
Okay.
He's a deep thinker like me. It's going to take him much longer. You know.
Don't overthink it.
I tend to do these things very intuitively, because I feel like if you overthink them, I did one recently where there was a timer on the page. It's like, if you didn't answer the question in like 45 seconds, you just skip that question. And like, I was like, oh my God, it was really pressurizing. But that was the whole intent of it, is not to overthink things. I will do the quiz because it's come up many times, and I love these. One of the coaching programs that I'm in, he talks about doing these personality tests, not to reaffirm what you're already good at, because most of us already know that, but like to see what you're not good at, and how do you fill those gaps, and how do you find other people who are really good at that. And that's why I love Colby A, because Colby A is really much about the way you work. And so like in my Colby A, when I read the blue section, it just was like, oh my God, this is exactly who I am. Like I could copy and paste it as my profile and be like, I'm someone who likes to innovate and create shortcuts and multitask, and I thrive on interruptions. Like any workplace I've ever gone to, it's like open door policy. Like you need me, you call me. Like I don't care how busy I look, I'll stop and serve you. And that's just my sweet spot. So I'll never go into a workplace where there's closed doors, offices, and people can't access me. Like I'll work in the team, not for the team, you know what I mean? Like it's just, yeah, it's really weird. And so I read my Colby A report often because it reaffirms who I am and who I want to be. So I love the Colby A. And in fact, most people who I work with, I get them to do it because I want to know what their workflow is, because no point pushing crap uphill because they're someone who, you know, like I was on a call yesterday and the facilitator was like, oh my God, you've got so many tabs up, to the person who was sharing. And I was like, no, I love the fact that you got so many tabs up. Like, you do you. You know, it's like, if you're someone who loves tabs, keep tabs open, you know, because then you close all the tabs and you forget to do something, and it's just not my work style, you know. So it's like, I thrive on tabs being opened. And so is the person who probably invented the feature, you know. And so yeah, so it's just really interesting to know thyself is what I'm kind of referring to it at the moment. Yeah.
Sure.
So.
Ray,
Cool.
Ray, I do want to chat some more about the platform that we originally talked about, and I've been wanting to talk about it, but it's just been it's been a long time. Emily, could you mute yourself? So when you have a sec, I'll send you a link on Slack to the calendar, and let's find a time to chat some more.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Happy to do that. Sounds good. All right. I do need to run. Thank you very much, as always. I'll see you next Friday.
You too. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Friday.
Jillian, it was good to meet you. Glad to have you.
Thank you. This is great. Thanks for including me.
Yeah. Where did we meet? Because your name sounds really familiar. I'm trying to remember where we had.
I go to
connected.
GRC calls. I go to roster calls sometimes. I don't know. I mean,
so it's through GRC then.
Networks, yeah. You look familiar too, though. Did you do any classes with Dee House? With Dee
with
First
who?
House?
No, I haven't. But yeah, so somewhere your name and face looks familiar. So I was trying to remember where we had met. It seems like we had met somewhere else. It's probably just a GRC conversation, but it's been a little bit. Well, thank you for coming. Hope you can make it to more of these.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks again.
Bye for now.